the last thing that I did, which was the Evergreen book automation email sequences that convert readers to fans. And then I'm going to show you an actual example of how to do it, because I think that having examples, it's all nice to go out and learn things, but if you don't have a real example, a real life example, it's just, okay, that's too hard for me. So to recap, the email sequences are 5 emails that you're going to put into your email newsletter provider, and it's usually called automation. And I'm going to use as an example MailerLite. And when I went to do it, I had to, of course, upgrade to the new version of MailerLite, which meant that it was a little strange for me at the beginning. So I am in your shoes, so to speak. Anyway, the 5 emails that you're going to, or that we're going to be doing are a thank you and a warm welcome, where we set the personal connection and the setting expectations for the emails that are going to come. The second one is a character spotlight or fun fact, where we're going to be deepening the story bond between the reader, who is the person receiving the email, and you as the author. There's going to include now we're going to get more specific into the book that we're talking about. So that's going to include an exclusive character interview and maybe some special non-book content. In this case, it's going to be research items that were found that helped the author writing the book. Then we're going to be doing a reader connection and a review prompt, where it's actually asking the reader to do some reviews for you on Amazon, because Amazon reviews are still more important almost than anything else that's out there, because that's where the majority of people buy their books. Or if they aren't buying their books on Amazon, they are using Amazon to look up and do searches for books and to learn more about books. Because fortunately or unfortunately, Amazon does have the most extensive information about a book. You can do all kinds of things with Amazon. And then the 5th one is going to be a sales pitch for the next book, or what we call your next adventure awaits. Now, I'm going to go over this really fast because I did go over this previously. So if you want to go back and look at that video, you can. So the timing for this one, the thank you one, is to do it as soon as possible. You can do it the same day or when they enter the sequence, or you could do it a day later, but you don't want to go longer than that. And what you're doing is you're thanking the readers, you're making them feel good about their choice because they purchased the book. If they didn't purchase the book, they got it from the library or something like that. We're not going to say that they're not coming into your ecosystem, your ecosystem. They're not coming in because they got a pirated copy of it, because otherwise you wouldn't know about those people, those idiots. But anyway, the key components of it are the personal thank you from the author, that's you, the writer, a quick recap of why the story is important, just to refresh their memory, and a light behind the scenes note about inspiration, what inspired you to write this book, and a soft mention about that the world does continue in other books, because that's really important. Even if you're not writing a series and this book is not part of a series, it is part of your world. And so mentioning that in a very soft kind of way, it helps reassure the reader that they made a good decision in purchasing your book. And a call to action is going to be inviting them to reply. And the reason that you want them to reply is because it helps make the rest of the emails show up in their inbox versus their update box, promotion box, whatever. And it also helps strengthen your email sending capabilities. So you should always, one CTA at least in the whole sequence should be to ask them to actually reply to the email. And you can do whatever you want with that. So the second email is a character spotlight and fun fact. Purpose of it is to build the stronger bond within that world and the characters. It helps them make a stronger connection with the characters they've just read about because they've spent time with them. And it also will encourage them to seek out additional stories with these characters in that world. And any research fact that you add is really a fun fact that helps to add value. And it also positions you as the author as dedicated to your craft, which means you actually worked to do this and it wasn't just AI. Whoa. So all the subtle things that you're adding to this is really important. So content elements can include things like a mini character bio of the hero or heroines, their quirks, their habits, their fears. It could be a fun fact that you learned while you were researching. It could be a photo or a prop from the writer's desk if possible. That means that you're a real person and not an AI robot out there doing things. And the call to action should link to a book in the same world, which features a cameo or a connection to this character, or it can be the additional one could also be to click is to reply again. You can have multiple replies, reply to my email with blah, blah, blah. That's fine. It's a good thing. It's so if you run out of things of the call to action, you can always rely on, hey, reply to this email with blah, blah, blah. And don't you love my blah, blah, blahs? Yeah, okay. Email 3 is an exclusive character interview, and the purpose is to give the readers a special non-book, we're not quoting necessarily from the book, but it's an exclusive look at something that was in the book or something about the characters that were in the book, I'm trying to say. I'm providing a template. You should have gotten it in the last one. It will also be in the update for this one, where you can just fill in the blanks. It's a short interview with the main character couple, and it's a playful Q&A style because people, readers, really do relate to things that are upbeat. Q&A style and that kind of thing is a very popular, and people read it and they have a lot of fun. You can drop hints about other people or places that are in that author's world or in that book world. And the call to action is to suggest the next book where if they love this couple, they'll love the next ones. Now, the email also, one of the things you want to make sure that you know is it provides unique content that's not in the book itself. So it's not a quote. And it makes the readers feel like they're insiders and they're part of an exclusive club. I think somebody, sorry. So the fourth email is the reader connection and review prompt. The job of this email is to encourage reviews and deepen community feel among the readers. It's asking them to do a favor for you. You've done a favor for them by providing a great book, and now it's time for them to return the favor. And people do like to be asked to do things. So the elements of this email are going to be, if you already have a review, you could include a little snippet of it. You also want to provide a quick two-step guide on leaving a review. For example, with links. You'll see this in the example, but here's what somebody already said about my book. This is all you have to write. And this is the number of stars, or you have to give us some star. You're not going to go really far into that, but you're also giving them a link so they don't have to go look it up. And I'm going to show you how to give a link directly to your book. And in this case, we are going to put the reviews on Amazon because, again, as I said before, Amazon is a place where most of your readers are going. Even if you don't want to sell the book there, this is where they're going to go to get more information about your book. So you want them to go back to that spot. And you want to softly mention that reviews help the writer, that's you, make more books that in the worlds that they love. And so the link is going to be to leave a review. It's really easy. Okay. And then the final email is, this is where you sell the next book or you sell another book. So we call this one your next adventure awaits. And this one can be, the timing on it is very flexible. If you want to do this all within 14 days or 7 days, it's up to you. And you're going to find the cadence, that means the timing of it, that works for you. Sometimes you need to do it like 1 day, 1 day, 1 day, or 2 days, 2 days, 2 days. We can discuss that later in the Q&A. So what you're going to do here in your next adventure awaits is, this is the sale. You're selling the next book. So the content elements are going to include a tease or an actual like mini cliffhanger blurb. It could be if you are selling this yourself on your own website, you can offer a small discount or a bonus scene or a free chapter preview. The call to action is a big button to buy the next book. Or if you don't use books to read or books to buy, which has all of the things, it's the link to the place that you actually want them to buy the book for that. And this final email makes a direct sales pitch. This is the only place in this entire sequence where you've been selling anything. Okay, so keep that in mind. You have sent them 4 emails of information that they could enjoy without feeling like they're being sold to. And what we talked about before is why it works, because it builds trust before asking for a sale. It provides the bonus content. It maintains momentum. Momentum is really important. It's a consistency that you don't have time to do in your everyday life because you're busy writing your next book, but because for the reader, they want to know more. They've bought the book, they've read the book, they now want to feel more connected with you or more connected to that world. And the alternate asks, instead of every message having a buy now, it gives them something else to do. Each email does have a call to action in it, but it's not a buy now. It's an encouragement to have a conversation with you as the author, but it's also sending them back to your website, giving them reasons to do actions. And so the implementation is we're going to do setup phase, which is where we get all the material together. Then the automation, where we go and we actually take what we got together and put it into the sequence. And we're going to use MailerLite as the example. And then what we're not going to cover in this is the monitor and optimize, because we haven't sent it out. But that's a very important part when you get this done, is that you want to go back after a couple of weeks after you send some people through it, to make sure that it's working and to see if you need to fine tune anything. The timing is important. We'll go over it. The value first approach is that you want to provide 4 emails worth of value before you start asking them to buy the next book. You want to focus on the world building so that they can feel comfortable in the world that you've created. And the best part about this is once you've written this and tested it, you did it that one time, and it just continues working for you as long as your book, what you're talking about, that you're focusing this on, is still for sale. Because somebody might find this 2 years from now and they would still get this sequence, and that sequence to them would feel very fresh. When you do these and you start to build these up for your backlist, that means it's an easy way of making your backlist work, which is really key. And I think that's the end of it. So now let's do the work, guys. I use Microsoft, so I'm going to just put that out there right now. So in Microsoft, this is what I had provided to you. Here we go. As a PDF last visit. And if you're new to this, you can get a copy of this as well. So here is what I just talked about in the slideshow. Email 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and why it works, kind of thing. So I put this is in Word, because what I'm going to do is take it from here and make sure that I have all of the individual options. So the first email is that thank you and warm welcome. So remember, the job of this email is to make them feel good about their choice and set the tone for what's coming next. So I want to write a personal thank you from the author. That would be me. In this case, we're going to use Jade Lee. We're going to write a quick recap of why the story is special, behind the scenes, why she wrote it, inspiration, and a soft mention about the world that continues in other books. And the CTA is going to be a reply with their favorite suspense for their favorite trope. So what I did is I have 2 Word documents open at the same time. One where I'm working on this and then where I'm putting the answers in. And it's really important before you jump into automation in your MailerLite or wherever you're doing your automation to have this material ready in a Word document or a Google Doc or something like that, so that you do all of the work of looking up the stuff and getting it ready before you start to dig into automation, because automation is going to be a whole animal that you want to concentrate on separately. All right. So what I did here is let's see. So here I just started to dig into, as I did the original one, then I started to put things in here. I just did like that. So the way that I do this is that give the title to the document that I'm working on. And it's the thank you. So I just copied this over because to me, once I have the structure, it's a lot easier, like outlining. And now you put the material in the outline. Does that make sense? Nods, everybody. Good. All right. So we need a subject line. We need a pre-header, which is going to be the second line. We need the whole body of the email. And that's it. That's all we're going to need for this, right? So it's a thank you and a warm welcome. So I say hi, first name, because I want to personalize this. So I put this in here. So I remember when I put this in automation, this is a filler place. I need to, not filler, I need to personalize it. So for me, I put it in square brackets. You can use whatever you want. But for me, so you'll see this through the whole thing, square brackets means that when we're in the automation, don't forget to fill in the personalization. Hi, first name. Thank you so much for picking up The Duke's Guide to Fake Courtship. This is a book came out in January. I had such a fun time writing this story. Fake relationships are one of my favorite tropes, and Declan and Grace's pretend romance may be my most delicious yet. Do you feel it already as we're writing this? We're just writing this. The inspiration came from imagining two people forced into a ruse that they thought that they could control, only to discover love doesn't follow rules. Sparks fly, tempers flare, and suddenly the line between performance and passion blurs. This is the start. Now I'm establishing where it is in my world. This is the start of my daring debutantes duet. It's a 2-book series that features the sisters Grace and Lucy. So I'm bringing in another character brought from China to London society. And I'm telling you this, the setting of this book, in case you forgot, right? Grace's story comes first, but Lucy's is coming soon. So there's a little tease, that little tease. Hit reply. Here's the call to action. And in this case, I am using the pointing finger because that is a kind of standard thing in emails. All right. This is where you need to work, but it's not like a blunt, big button kind of thing. It's a very kind of subtle thing. You can leave that off if you don't like emojis. Hit reply and tell me your favorite historical romance trope. I'd love to hear. Warmly, Jade. And in this case, Jade, her personality is she always just signs it with her first name. You can, if you want a whole full name, you can do that. If you want to add more things to the signature, you may do that. But don't get too carried away. Don't put your normal one where you list all of your books. In this case, if you have a tagline for your author brand, I would put that there, whatever it is. But you don't want to start selling stuff here in your signature line, because you want to keep this kind of clean. It's like we're just talking, it's just a quick note. And as you notice, I'm not including any images or anything because this is just a note from one person to another person. Email number 2 is the character spotlight and fun fact. You could forget the day 4 kind of thing. That was just a copy from the original outline. Subject lines and a pre-header. You need 2 things. So it's meet Declan, the temperate duke with a fiery heart. This is my tagline for Declan. And Grace, she's an acrobat adventurer and a debutante, maybe kind of thing. So we're putting this in here. Now, those are the reason subject lines are so important, and you can test these using subjectline.com if that helps you, is that they, even if they don't read the email, this is the sense of what they're going to get and they're going to remember even as they delete your email. Subject lines are super important. Pre-headers are super important because they show up in the email program You have the subject line and then you have the first bit of the email. So that's what the pre-header is. And if you have any questions later, do bring that up. Again, here's the body of the email. Hi, first name again. And the reason I keep bringing this up is that if I forget to put these things in square brackets, I always forget the personalization. Personalization is important. Sometimes you have to remind yourself. So when I write something like this, that's why I like to use the square brackets. Hi, let's shine a little spotlight on our main characters. Now we're really getting into a character spotlight. It could be a description. It could be something like this. And this would be the first place that I actually add if I have an image or something or a photo of what the characters who I imagine as the writers, the characters to have been, you could save an image of that to include in this email. All right, so the first character is the Duke of Vernon. He's temperate, he's logical, he carries the shadow of a family legacy of rage. He needs control to survive, but Grace tempts him to let go. I mean, this is a very short spotlight. You don't want to give them too much information. You're assuming that they've read the book, or if they haven't read the book, but they've downloaded it and bought it, and somehow they've come into your world for this, it's another tease. It's more like on the tease kind of thing. And Grace Richards, raised in China, daughter of an English lord, and more at home in a ship's rigging than a ballroom. Her spirit, daring, and secret, I can't even pronounce it, sorry guys, set her apart from every London debutante. So it's why she's different. But we're still covering in the character sketch. You want to make sure that you also are centering them in the world that they are living in. Now we get into the fun fact. So we've introduced the characters, and now we're going into what her historical is. So her fun fact was, while researching, she fell down a rabbit hole of 19th century sailing terms, because you'll find Grace tossing nautical metaphors into her conversation, even at teas. Now, this next section is I actually copied this out of the book. So it's a direct quote, and I have set it off in the text so that you know that this is a quote. This is not just me writing, right? So when you write the email, you want to make sure that your quotes look like quotes. You can use a different color. You could use a different font. Doesn't matter, but you want to make sure that you're having them stand out. And then, so here is the quote that I did where it shows the research that I did. Because I told them I did research, and now I give them an example of it just to remind them. Because when readers read a book, they're into the world and everything else. So this is just putting the layer on it, putting the confirmation that you did research, that you are a real person, and that it might have been something that they missed. But we're still in this world together, guys, the reader and the author. And then we're moving, because it's a love story, we're moving into the next thing. Now, if this was for a mystery, I would probably have used a hint, a red herring or something like that as the next like jumping point. But then Grace and Declan's fake courtship turns scandalously real. And I do another quote. This one is just one paragraph. Again, I'm going to show that I'm going to set this off. So when I copied this into Word, I used the quote style. And this is just to help me later. Remember, we're getting all of the information together so that when we put it in the automation, we don't have to go look for stuff. We've done all of the research and looking for this. And now we're down to the CTA. What do you think? When does a pretend romance stop being pretend? And I like emojis a little bit, not a lot, but the little hearts are like, oh, oh. My CTA is, again, I just want them to hit reply and tell me their favorite moment when fake turns. All right, now we're ready. And again, I'm just using Jade. If I had a tagline, I would continue to use the tagline. So that's just establishing that they know who you are writing this letter. And remember, this is a series of letters, really. It's a series of letters. It's not a series of sales things. It's a very personal kind of thing. And that's what's important about when you do these. Because you don't want it to be salesy. You don't want it to be salesy. You want it to be like a friend talking to a friend. All right, now we're into the exclusive character interview. Again, subject line and pre-header. So this is a playful Q&A with Grace and Declan. And it's behind the ballroom doors, an interview with our couple. So remember, we're doing subject line and pre-header, subject line and pre-header, subject line and pre-header. All righty. So this is a kind of format. It's hi, first name. I thought it would be fun to sit down with Grace and Declan for a quick interview. This is not big emails. We're not writing a whole new story here. We're writing something short. This is 3 question and answers. This is not going to be hard at all. How did you first meet? But you're going to get a sense of the characters. So Declan says, on a ship when she nearly gave me a heart attack, leaping from the rigging. That was like one of their first meets. Actually, it was their third meet. Grace, he exaggerates. I was perfectly safe, mostly. The second question is, what do you most admire about each other? He says her courage. She says his honor, although she does like ruffling his control. Are you getting a sense of who these characters could possibly be? And you haven't even read the book, right? So this was good for people if they bought the book and they haven't had a chance to read it. This is also encouraging them. This is what you're missing, guys. Do you want to read this? Don't you want to hear what happens next? And a dream vacation. These are nothing that are in the book. This is historical romance. They don't go on dream vacations. Somewhere quiet with order. This is like establishing his character. And hers is anywhere with sails and the sea because she's a fun-loving person kind of thing. And then the email goes, it's clear that this fake courtship was doomed from the start because falling in love was inevitable. If this is for a mystery book, you would say something that goes along with the murder or something that goes along with the suspense. Again, now we have another call to A. If you enjoyed this peek, you'll want to look for Lucy's story next. She's going to stir up even more trouble. This is a tease to the next book in the series. And this is the first, I'm not really trying to sell this here, but I'm giving them the option. Now, the second book in the Daring Debutantes is really not out till the end of this month of September. So what I would have done here is I would have sent, but it is available now on Harlequin. So I would have sent them to, the call to action would have been, get a sneak peek on Harlequin. If it was on my website, I would have said, here, take a sneak peek to Lucy's adventures and done it to my website. Unfortunately, when I went to do this with Jade Lee's website, she still doesn't have that book up yet. So this will encourage you to make sure that your website is updated, because I should have been sending this to my website. FYI, she probably doesn't even know this, but I will send her a message. Now we're ready to do email number 4, sorry. And this is the reader connection and review prompt. And this I would give a couple of days after they've read the book or after the previous email. And I'll show you later when we put these together. Subject line, again, subject line and the pre-header is, your thoughts could help another reader find this Duke. Did you love Grace and Declan? Share with the world. So it's like a soft ask even in the subject line. It's hi, first name. If the Duke's Guide to Fake Courtship, and you want to repeat the title of the book because they read a lot more books than just yours. So you want to reinforce what it is that you're asking them to do. So you're saying, if the Duke's Guide to Fake Courtship swept you away, would you take 2 minutes, just a 2-minute ask, to leave a review? Reviews don't need to be long, just honest and from the heart, and they help other romance readers or suspense readers or mystery readers discover this book and help me writing more stories like this. You're really establishing the why. Why do they need to do this? Now you're going to do how. Here's a quick template. You have the 5 stars on there. It's not that you're asking them explicitly to give you 5 stars, but you're at least putting it out there that they can see it. And you're giving them an example. This book had me laughing one moment, swooning the next. The fake courtship trope with Declan and Grace was perfection. And then it's leave your Amazon review here. And I'm putting this out here because what you want to do is the format for doing this is https://amazon.com/DP/ and then the ASIN number. Now, I would put it on the Kindle. The Kindle version, you can put it on the paperback or hardcover. It doesn't matter. But more people are looking at the Kindle version. The Kindle version comes up more often in Amazon when they do searches. So you want to do this. And the reason you want this to be this short with nothing else, do not go to the Amazon page and copy the URL or it's the top of it, because there's a lot of stuff embedded in there and it will screw up you getting that review. And it will make why reviews get rejected on Amazon, because it includes a lot of information that Amazon uses against you. So please, if the only thing you get out of this is how to do the URL for asking for a review, this is super, super important. And now you've asked them, you've given them a CTA. Now what you're going to do is just, this is another soft thing I threw in here. This is another book that's a Regency. Actually, it's in her world. It's another Regency book that includes half Chinese characters in the world, and it's a different series. So what I've added in here was, do you love scandal, wit, and slow burning passion of the Duke's Guide to Fake Courtship? This is the book that I'm asking them to do the review for. You'll want to sneak a peek at Jade Lee's Forbidden Pleasures. Is a tale of dangerous desires, whispered secrets, and love that defies society's rules. And in this case, the link is going to Jade Lee's website and to that series page, which lists the 2 books that are in that series. And this is one of the few times that you want to give 2 call to actions within an email. Generally speaking, what you should do is only 1 call to action within an email. But the thing is, if they're not going to leave a review, you want to at least do something for you. And this is not necessarily selling. This is not a direct link to sell. What it's doing is a direct link to come back to your website again. So you want people to encourage them to come back to your website. And now, finally, you're at the last email. This will probably be the most work for you. I'm just saying. So your next adventure awaits. We're going to do the hard sell now. Lucy's turn is coming. In this case, the book is going to be out September 26, 27, something like that. I'm making the assumption when I start this that it's not available for sale yet. However, I am going to go in and modify this once the book is for sale, because I want this to be an evergreen so that they'll buy book 1 and book 2, book 1, book 2. So it's Hi First Name and ready for your next adventure. Grace's younger sister, Lucy, is stepping into the glittering and treacherous world of London society. She may not be scaling the sales like her sister, but Lucy's wit, charm, and courage will land her in just as much trouble and possibly in the arms of a most unexpected suitor. I can't say much yet, but here's a tease. Imagine a daring young woman, a scandalous wager, and a romance that just might shock London to its core. And then I do a quote from the next book. This is a preview quote. Again, this one is long, but it's not too long. It's with that. And then at the end of it, the name of the book is A Lord and One of a Wife. And I have the buy links. Or I could, if the book is not for sale yet, I could be the first to know sign up, where I'm going to tag them with the debutante too, which is I'm going to show you how to do this in there. That means the conditional action on this is that I'm going to start another sequence, or I'm going to do something else with that. And then I just close it with thanks for coming along for Grace and Declan's love story. Now let's see what Lucy gets up to. With love, Jade. And that is it. That is the material that we're going to use to go ahead and write the sequence. Now we're going to move on to Mailer Light. First thing you want to do in MailerLite is that you are going to create a group, which is a tag. So if you saw my reference to Debutante 2, we're making two groups for this email sequence. The first group is if they bought the first book in the series, which is The Duke's Guide to Courtship or whatever it is. So I'm going to call it Debutante 1. You want to make the tag short. Sometimes you can only use one word or you can use with dashes. And that's why we've got Debutante 1 and Debutante 2. Now, you need to have groups because that's the way it's going to flow. You don't want to send this out to everybody in your email group. This is just for people that hit a certain trigger, but your automation has to know who are we talking to. So that is why the first thing you want to do is to go in and create your group. Then we're going to move right into automation. Ta-da, ta-da. I know you like my sound effects. I have actually done two versions of it. So we're going to go right into drafts. Actually, I could tell you how you actually start from the very, very beginning. Let us go back to automation. So this is what you're first staring at. And what we want to do is a new automation. And when you do that, you get this page that says choose a template, blah, 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 blah. You've got this simple welcome email, which is where most authors stop after they look at all of this. They're like, I can't, there's no way. I can't do any of this. Okay, this is like too much. You've got win back inactive subscribers, retarget subscribers, new promotion, birthday wishes, online course, advanced welcome email, demo call, invite. That's all nice. We're going to forget all that. We're going to start from scratch. So the first thing we're going to do is to give it a name. Real simple. This is only name is for you. And this one is going to be mine is Jade Lee Debutante. And we're going to start building. Now, the first question it's going to ask me is set up the workflow trigger. This is what kicks off the whole thing. And that is why we needed to have those groups. So the trigger is you just do a drop down here when a subscriber joins a group. Now we're not going to worry about in writing the sequence how we get them into that. That is a story for a separate day. But this whole thing is going to start when they join that group, when they get that tag Debutante 1. So I'm going to just click on this and the group. This is why you had to have written the groups is Debutante 1. And I just click it. Okay, it's real easy. Now, allow subscribers to repeat the workflow. Do you want a reader to go through this more than one time? If you don't care, then you click, yeah, sure. If it like means something to you, you don't have to, it's not going to care one way or the other. It's either one time or multiple times. In this case, I would say you'd only want them to go through one time. So see, don't get yourself bogged down here. I'm just going to leave this off. Okay, now I've got the trigger. Next thing I need to do is to hit the plus sign to say, what is the next action? The next action is going to be the delay. The delay means when we've got the trigger, but after the trigger, when does this whole thing start? So that's what you click on delay. And you have a lot of options. You can do it within minutes after they're added to the group, hours, days, weeks, months, or specific time of the day or a specific day of the week. In this case, we're going to do 1 day after the trigger takes place. And I'm just doing this. I'm just pulling it out of my hat right now. And that's it. We're just going to save it. Now, the next thing was, remember, now we're ready to do email number 1. That's why you have this all in another document, so you can start doing copying and pasting. So the next step is an email. Now we want to define the email. That's what I love about MailerLite, because it's just like you click things and then everything shows up on the right-hand side. So the first thing is the email name. Now, let me see if I can actually do this. Ta-da! Yes. Don't you love my ta-da? I just broke my screen in two pieces. I've got my Word document and I've got the thing that I'm working on. So the first email has a name over here, which is thank you and a warm welcome. Copying and I'm pasting. I love copying and pasting. All righty. Let's see if I can turn this off. Thank you. I don't want you to autofill anything. So the email subject is a Duke, a debutante, and a deal that you'll love. So I'm copying and pasting. Oops, I did it twice. Just want to do it once. It's coming from Jade Lee, and I have to use my email because this is how I signed up into MailerLite. You would put your whatever your email is that you're sending it from. It's a welcome to this world in the pre-header. So remember, we have subject line and we have pre-header. See? This makes things easy. Now we're ready to design the email. And we click on that design the email. And now that's the body. So remember, we're just going to copy this whole thing because we did all the work. And we're going to use the drag and drop editor because we don't have any templates. Now, when you're in MailerLite and you're doing this, and it comes up very slowly, apparently, you're going to get this email. I might have to make it bigger again, which has all of this stuff in it that you're like, I don't want all this stuff. So I do have to make it bigger, sorry. All right, so the first thing I do is I go, here's the pre-header up here to welcome to the world, leave it alone. However, I don't want the view in browser because when that's such a signal that this is not a personal email because none of your personal emails say view in browser, okay? They just don't. So what you want to do is go ahead to your little thing here and get rid of. Here, what you're going to do is just turn off include an email body, and you want to get rid of that. Now, when you don't have, when you're in MailerLite and you just have a template, you just have their basic do it from scratch kind of thing, it's going to have all this stuff at the top. All right, so remove it. Now we're not doing a picture in this one. So we're going to go ahead and remove that when we're in here. Now, the way to do that is to click off image and off button. And it says start writing your, this is like a title and you're like, oh, that's too big. So we're going to say the start typing here is where we're pasting in the hi first name and all of that. We can go change it. Now what I can do here is just delete it. Right? And I go, why is this also, now my hi first name is too big because I was late erasing all of this stuff. So if you want to know a way of cleaning up your emails really fast, click on this HTML. Don't worry about it. It's not that bad. And you'll see up here, it says H1 style. That is the mess that is screwing with us. So we're going to just change that to a P for paragraph with an ending P. And I want to get rid of this style altogether because I don't want it centered. And you're like, what did she just do? It's really easy, actually. That's it. So we've got hi first name Thank you for so much. I'm just making sure that everything I wrote that was in my Word document, I'm putting over here correctly, blah, blah, blah. Now I remember my first name, which is a personalization. So I just highlight it and I go up to this variable. It's called a variable. And because it's a male or light, name is first name. So I just click on name. Now I have personalized my email. And I might want to get rid of extra lines down here at the bottom. Once you set up your mailer light, you're going to have the same footer, and you're going to need to leave that in, because as long as you have at the top of your email, like it's very blatant view in browser, the bottom of the email is perfectly fine to just say, this is where it's coming from. Okay, and that's essentially it. Email number 1 is finished. And I'm just going to click done editing. And now we're back to the automation. And the reason that you wanted to put the email name in here is so that when you look at the automation, you get a really quick sense of what are the emails that are in there. So now we're just going to repeat the process. Delay, which is when is the next time that it's coming. We're going to do 2 days. Save it. We're going to click on the next thing we want to do is an email. And then we're going to define the email, and the name of it is, this is email number 2. So now we're just scrolling down in that Word document or your Google Doc. The name is this, character that. The subject line is Meet Declan. The pre-header is, and the other character, Grace. And now we're clicking to design the email. You don't need to worry about anything else on the bottom there. So it's the first name. And this is going to have a quote, and that's why I want you to see it. Going back to the drag and drop. Bringing it in. We're waiting patiently. Again, kill it. And we're going to change this to no image, no button, just my text. Get rid of my title for here because I don't need a title. I'm going to go ahead and, now that I know about my first name, I'm going to do the variable, which is personalization, hi first name. And I don't know why this hates me so much, where it makes everything the style, but it does. So I just go in here and I just kill that one line. And I kill the H1 because I just don't like to have extra spaces in my thing. So I click back the HTML. So we're back to here. It has that. Now I did this. Now remember, this is a quote. So what I want to change this to, this is a quote. So I go over here and I look at the style, and the style for the text is, it's not giving me an option. And I go, ugh. And you'll hear big sighs from Sarah sometimes. So I need to go back to my element side, and there is on the element side a quote. So I'm like, I can't just copy and paste that whole body over here. I'm going to have to actually add a couple of text boxes. Fine, I can do that. So what I'm going to do is I take the quote and I'm going to add it down here at the bottom, because my quote has to go here. And this I have to change to this I'm going to get rid of everything that I had just copied and pasted there. All right. So I'm going to clean it. I'm going to get this up here. We've got the quote. So I'm putting my quote here. So I go back to my Word document and I just take out the direct quote and I put it in here. Now, so it's going to show up differently because I'm using the mailer-like quote thing, which is fine. But now I need to finish the email that I'm writing. So I got to go back to elements and I want just text. Where is just text? Just text. I'm bringing a text box in underneath. I go back to my email. I go back to the thing. Oh, because this is a one-liner that I'm inserting in between. So I go back here, put it in. And now what I am, because you can be lazy, is that you can go up here and to the quote, because I already did one quote. So I'm going to go up here to the quote and I am going to just duplicate it. And then I'm going to use the little button, the down arrow. So I put it underneath when Grace in that, and then I go into the quote, delete what's there because I need to put in my new quote. Make sure I have all the quotation marks. Okay, so I put this in here. Yes, I'm going to start writing my text, guys. There we go. So I have my quote. Again, I'm lazy because I need another one of these just straight without quotes. So I just duplicate it and then I hit the down arrow so it goes underneath where it's supposed to go. And I put in the closing, which is what do you think? And the call to action. And there. And now I think I'm done. So I look at it really quickly. And it looks good. And I hit, oh, forgot to kill off the browser thing. Which if you could turn off the include and main email bow and you just delete that. And I've saved it and now it's all done. So I click done editing and I've written, now here's an email that had quotes in it, that had text in it, that was personalized. So those are the things that I very quickly was able to do. And now I'm ready to do the next one in the sequence. And again, it does a little preview. It tells you the name of the email that you wrote. So you don't want to say email 1, email 2, email 3. You really want to give it an email name so that it's going to be easier for you when you come back and look at it. And I just repeated doing all of that. And so for the sake of time, I'll show you a closed one or one that's off that I did all of this. So we have a workflow. Of the complete one. And we'll go through and edit it just so you can see the different parts of it. So the trigger is when the subscriber joins the group, debutante 1, had a welcome email. This one I waited 3 days after that to do the character spotlight and fun fact. Waited 2 days, so I just added another trigger. And I put in the exclusive character interview. Then I waited 3 more days. It was just fun. And I did, this is when I actually added a image. And I just got a GIF image that was help needed. And the reason I did it was because I was like, okay, now I've sent a straight email, a plain email. And this one is, I'm trying to get their attention a little bit more. And I'm asking them to review for me. So I wanted to give it something that didn't have like the book in it, but also that was like encouragement. So this is just my personality. You can use your own personality. You can use nothing at all. It doesn't matter. It's just, this was just something that I'm showing you, you could add. So then another wait 3 days and this is the hard sell. And let's see. Now for the hard sell here, I would have put in let's see if we can actually review this, edit the content. I would want to put in a book cover, and I think that I did at the bottom of it. So you could use Canva or something else to do either. You could use your imagination, like, so again, here's the first one. Oh, I forgot to take that out, right? Here's the deer with the personalization. Here's the quote, because it's a longer quote. Oh, that's what I did. So I decided on this one is that because the book is not for sale yet, that I wanted to move them to I wanted to send them an email when the book comes out, the next book comes out. So I put in here, be the first to know with the action with a button. Remember, this is when you really actually do a button. And I'm actually saying in here, be the first to know, email me when a Lord and Want of a Wife is released. And that I also do a thank you. And the reason that I did this way was, and the way that you do that is title with a button. It's really easy. You just pick it from here and put it over here. And when they click this, all it's going to do is add them to my debutante 2 sequence. And now I would have to go into this because the book is not out yet. I will have to go into that. And the trigger for this, when I'm done editing here, the trigger for this is a specific day and time because I know when the book is coming out. So the yes one is, I have to put in here. I have to put a delay. Set the delay. You can let me set the delay. Ah, here it is. Okay, so remember on there you had a specific time of the day, a specific day. So in this case, I would put in that the date that the date of the book actually comes out. So it would be like for September the 26th or the day before that I would use for this sequence, for this display. And then once you've got all of this saved, oh, and then what it does is it moves them from group. It moves them into debutante 2 group, and the debutante, it removes them from debutante 1 so that the action actually stops. You just put a 1 in here for friends. And this one is a little bit off of the thing that normally you would just say move them to group 2, move them to the new group and remove them. And if either way, remove them from the debutante book. And then when you want to start this, you hit activate at the top and that starts this whole sequence. And that is it. Do we have questions? That was a lot.
So I understand that when it pulls a name, is it going to pull in the field when they sign up? It's going to have their name in there and pull from that?
If their name is already in your database, you're not changing anything about them being a subscriber. All you're changing is adding the group, which group they're in. And once you move them from a group, it does not remove them from your database. I think what I wanted to show you is that automation isn't scary if you take it in the pieces and you do it in like a document first. Because if you were just staring at here, I know I need to do email 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I don't have all the material together first, then I'm like, I can't do this. So either
Yeah.
use a Word document or a Google document,
Yeah.
whatever. And the reason I wouldn't use it in like a text pad or something like that is because it doesn't keep the formatting. So when you do a copy and paste. So if you have your book open and you're pulling the different things from your book, I need an excerpt for this. I need an excerpt for this. I need an excerpt for this. You want to copy it with all of its regular formatting. If there's parts that are italicized, or if there's parts that are bolded or something like that, you want to bring that over. If you use text pad, then you lose all that. So that's why I like Word, because it brings it for me. And that's why I went over in the beginning of, here's the 5 emails I'm writing. Email 1 needs this. So I'll go and find this and I'll put it in the Word document. Where email 2 needs this. So I put it in the Word document. And I use the same Word document instead of going and finding the different ones. Because here's where I got the excerpt for Lucy. This is, oh, it helps if I share the screen. Sorry, wait a minute. So in my Word document, I went out and I got, here's the copy I need for the new book, the book that's not out yet. So this is, and I'll show you how I actually did it. I bought the book from Harlequin because I'm like, I'm going to have to figure this out. And I decided I'm just taking the prologue. I took the prologue. I'll get to the prologue eventually here, chapter there. So here it is that I just copied this from here and I put it into Word and cleaned it up. So here's all I wanted from it. And then I decided was supposed to be my cliffhanger. So I got that. All right. Then the second thing I needed to do was I had to go into my other copy of Grace's book. And I went, oh, I need to find sailing. So I went and I found the sailing and the love of rigging. And this is the actual scene that they were on the boat. And I'm like, oh, that shows that she did research into rigging of the 19th century. So I copied that and I put that into a separate, so like I'm ending up here with a bunch of Word things. And then I went, okay, now what I need to do is go, and I filled it in with this, but then I just saved it off for you so you can see where you start at and where you end up. Here's the one where you end up. So I actually just filled in the different things. So like I wrote the thank you note because I knew I needed to have a personal thank you and a recap and a light behind the scenes. So I just replaced those as I was writing. When I moved down to the scene, so the second one was the character spotlight and fun fact. I needed the fun fact. So the fun fact that I learned was about, I decided 19th century sailing terms. And so I just put this in here, crow's nest, the different things. And then I needed this quote, so I got that one as well. But I found them because finding the quotes to me was the hardest part of it. And I know that I wanted it all in the one place. Making the short interview, we have the interview style. So that was just, I put it in and then just filled in the blanks. So what I'm providing you is, here's a template to work from to give you ideas of what you need to have. And then so you put it together in a Word document. And now I'm putting it into the automation. And then and that's why I didn't want to focus on how does the automation start? We're going to make the assumption is, not the assumption, the trigger is when they're added to that group. So now that's a question that is for another day, but what it comes down to is that if you were an indie author or you were an author that was allowed to put into back cover copy of your book, like an excerpt if you were giving away a free scene, a free extra epilogue or something like that in your book, then what you would do is what you would write, the URL that you would put in there that's hidden would start, the action that you would do is they would sign up to your mailing list and that they would immediately be added to debutante 1 group. The easiest way for you to do it is that put it out on social media with a link to join your mailing list. Now, if they're a member of your mailing list already, the MailerLite knows that, and all that MailerLite would do is add them to debutante 1. It will do that for you, which is cool. So you could say, did you get a chance to pick up my book? If so, click here, kind of thing. And that click here is what starts the whole trigger. And so that would then depend on you for, so like in the back cover copy, that's like the most reliable one. Or let's say they downloaded it on BookFunnel. So you could have the trigger on BookFunnel that if they got the extra bonus scene for whatever, probably that's the best way of doing it. If they're on BookFunnel or someplace like that, that they would go and it would add that group to them and that would start the sequence. And then that just lives out there forever. And now what I have to do is write another sequence for book number 2, which is the same thing. But once you do the work of creating that book 1, it can just live there. And then you could, and the more that you do this, the better you get at it.
That's not dated, so it won't get old.
Yeah. Because once you've done it, then you're
good.
like, because if somebody now discovers your books and you've got 8 books in a series or something, you're not going to remember books 1 through 7. You're worried about book 9. So that is why you want to do it as when it's as fresh as possible and have something out there that can live evergreen, that can just do its job without you going back and rewriting the words.
But we would not use the Amazon link, but we could go to our website and find the book on there and use that link. And that
Yeah, you
wouldn't be
can
too long.
you can
Okay.
use as long as the book is for sale on Amazon, you can use because the link that I gave you was the small link that doesn't change. The ASIN is not going to change. Amazon's not going to change it. They're going to change it if you put up a new version of if you go from one publisher to another printer or something like that with paperback and the hardback and the audiobook, they're going to they change it. Usually the Kindle does not change. And of course, that'll make me a liar, but usually it doesn't. So that
We sent them to our website and we have different places there that they can buy it. Then they can choose where they want. Maybe they have a Nook or
yes.
something. Yeah.
And then remember, the reason you want to keep sending them back to your website is it makes you keep your website up to date. And yes, so I rolled my eyes, keeps your website up to date. And it also makes the reader keep going to your website. So even though you're not updating this book information on a regular kind of basis, or if all, once you get it up there and it's working, what it's doing is training the reader to go and discover new information about you that they may not have known. So was that better? This is the first time I've given you like really detailed, here's how you would work this.
That's what I personally need. I need somebody to grab me by the ear and say, come on, this is the one step, and then this is the next step. Because, yeah, that's what I need. So thank you.
So I was just trying to do here's how it should be done kind of thing, and trial and error kind of thing. And for me, I'm just gonna say for me, when I look at automation and it has all those boxes and stuff on it,
Yes.
like the templates that are out there, I go, that's not relevant to what I want to do. That's not relevant to what I want to do. Here's what I need to do. Okay, now how do I go about doing it? And the easiest thing of the trainings that I've taken on how to do automation and stuff is they always say, put it in a Google Doc and then put it in your other place. And I'm like, oh, okay, fine. So I have done this a few times. And I'm like, I think that authors need examples. Here's a book. Here's how I'm doing it. This is a very lightweight. This is not complicated. We're not doing conditional things like yes or no. None of that till we get to the very end. It's just a series of simple emails to a reader. And as a reader, I would appreciate it. And that's what you want to do. You want to make them simple. You want to make them clean. You want to make it so that it's just be a back and forth email between you and them. So I'm glad that this was helpful.